Please welcome on stage our second to last participant of the day, Aikaterina KARAGEORGIADI, who is going to present a project called Color, How it Affects Emotion and Its Associations.
Hello, thank you. I hope you're all doing very well. So today I will present to you my study about how color affects our emotions and how we associate it. So I want to talk to you a little bit about my idea first. So I grew up in an artistical background. I always had a lot of artistical freedom. And one of the things that I noticed a lot of other kids didn't have was the option to choose colors in your room. So my mom, as an artist, she always let me pick the colors that I wanted my walls to be. And she would never let me pick warm color palettes like red, orange, yellow, because she would always tell me that I would never be relaxed in my room if I had those colors. So I wanted to investigate a little bit more on that and see why do we like certain colors and why do we dislike certain colors? Why is my favorite color purple and why do I dislike so much the color orange? Does it have to do with the way I associate it with, the way it makes me feel? So I looked into it. I noticed one day when I was in my brother's room, I was playing with a Rubik's Cube and I noticed this. My brother has LEDs, and under a purple light, the colors of Rubik's Cube changed completely, while under a yellow light, the colors stayed as the colors we know. So I thought, okay, color, there must be something there. So under yellow light, we see the colors normally, but under purple light, we don't. There must be, color must not be a real concept that way. It depends on three things, actually. Under the light that it's under, we have a yellow sun, so we see everything under a yellow perspective. If we had a red sun, everything would be different. Then second, the way light reflects on certain surfaces. And third, how we, personally, our eyes and how our brain processes each color. That's why there's a lot of times where you have a shade and some of you might think, oh, this is dark blue, while some others might think, oh, this is black. So the psychology of color, the exact definition would be color psychology is a study of the effect that colors have on the moods, behaviors, and feelings of people. And for example, when you have a red color palette, you immediately think of danger. You think of intensity. You might think love. You might think passion. It's alarming. While blue, it's a cool color. For some, it might be a very sad feeling. It might be very calming, comforting. And I wanted to look more into that. So I had three hypotheses along my study. The first one, colors associated with places, objects, with positive objects will be liked more. There will be a higher liking, higher scores of points on a liking scale out of 5 stars. So our opinion of colors is heavily associated on, it's heavily based on the way we associate them. For example, red you associate sometimes with blood, so you will not like it that much. And third, most participants will prefer cool colors from warm palettes due to their lower intensity. So I conducted a study for that. I decided to send a questionnaire out and let people tell me what they think of each color. I was very happy. I got around 150 responses, and analyzing the data was a very big difficulty. I got a lot of qualitative data that I had to turn into quantitative data. And I had 40 questions, and I asked individually each color. I asked people to tell me one association and one emotion they associate the color with. So an object, a place, a person, and an emotion. And this is what I found. I created a little picture, a little chart to show what each color and the 4 basic or most used emotions associated with. I got this idea, it has been done before, but I still wanted to check and I still wanted to create my own chart. And I did find pretty different results from what I found in the internet and from books. So I was pretty surprised. There was not much variety into what people thought, but it's still pretty, I was still pretty happy with my results. And what I also found was that the most liked colors were cool color palette colors. So blue, green, and purple. And it ended up, my hypotheses were wrong. Two of my 3 hypotheses were wrong. It turns out it does not matter what you think about a color emotionally or what you associate it with, because the highest reason for a person to like a color was that they like to see it around them, and that it's calm and soothing. In this case, yes, cool color palettes, they were calm and soothing, but it has to do more with the environment rather than our personal, psychological, emotional connection. And it was the same with the most hated colors. The most hated color came out to be yellow, orange, and brown, the 3rd place. And the reasons were also the same. They didn't like to see it around them, and it didn't represent them. So more of a personality rather than an emotion or an association. So I also did an intensity scale to see what people think is more intense, and correlated with my results of most liked and most favored and most disliked. And warm color palettes had an intensity scale and rating out of 8, 6.25, and cool color palettes 4.8 out of 8. So my conclusions: blue, the most liked color; yellow, the least liked color. I expected to see such trends, but again, my hypotheses were proved wrong. And then I thought, how can I use my results? Color psychology is mostly used in marketing. Now, it's something that triggers our emotions without us realizing. So yes, it's mostly used in marketing. So I hope that somebody might be able to use my results when it comes to that, or in their advantage, as in paint your room in a calm color palette, not a warm one. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you for being with us now. Where did the inspiration for your project come from?
My passion for art. As I mentioned, I've grew up in a really cultural family. My parents always let me experiment with music, art, and it felt like the right project to go with when I was introduced to the Young Scientist contest.
And was that at school, where you heard about the contest, or?
Yes, I was informed about it in school.
Okay.
But there is there is a love for art, definitely here. But what brings you to the actual scientific aspect of it? How did that come from?
Well, I started this year psychology in my school, and I really love it. And I thought, why not research it? I wanted also to look into more biological projects, but I don't know. It was the first thing that came in my mind, and it felt like the right thing to go with as well.
Okay.
Well then, what emotion linked to color was the most surprising for you to find out about?
That's a good one. I would say brown. The most surprising association was royalty, would you say, luxury brown. I did not expect that at all. I thought that people would go with something more dirty in a way. But I was really surprised that people did not think like that at all.
Okay, do you have any explanation for that?
I don't, actually. Brown now is frequently used in homes, in buildings around us. And I think people are more exposed to that than like dirt or land or earth, and I think that's the reason.
The subject you're studying is like heavily demanded by marketers and like companies doing consultings and things, so it can have actually a lot of applications. What's your take on it? Where would you like to take your research to?
I would like to take my research more to the personal rather than the marketing.
Okay.
So I would rather prefer my research to be used in personal psychology. So if you could use it as a person, if it could somehow help you improve your psychology throughout the day, if by, for example, having a bright color in your room would help you be more happy in your daily life, I'd rather research more into that than the marketing side of it.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing that I wish that I could use my data and my research in was hospitals. I get that they use the color white frequently, and because it represents cleanness, it's purity, but I think it does not help people recover.
It's also sterile, sterile and so on. So what color would be good for patients to see?
Blue and green, and pastel shades of colors, more cool colors like purple. And I think that would be more interesting than white, but also calming enough and clean and sterile enough to help balance both both requests.
We see a growing interest in your gestures, like when you're talking about hospital and colors. Does it mean that you're coming back next year with a project on colors and hospitals?
Hopefully.
That would be very nice.
I don't know where I want to take it next year, but I want to definitely look into it more and research into it.
And come back to the contest?
Yes.
Very good.
What encouraging words do you have for other participants this year or for future participants?
I think the most important thing is to come forward. Don't be scared, and put the effort and the time to investigate and search into some of your ideas. And you have to start, you always have to start somewhere, and this is a beautiful contest. And don't be shy to come forward. Don't be scared to work a bit more. That's my.
Which was the most fun part for you?
Getting the responses from the people, having actual people respond to you. It's a whole different feeling, because yes, you can be researching an entire day in a lab or in the internet, but nothing. That was the most fun part. Seeing people put a little bit into your research. And it was fun reading some people had really funny responses, and I had to say I really enjoyed some of that, even though it was a pain, because analyzing 150 responses
can be, yes,
was not the.
Through that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much for your time with us.
Thank you.
And good luck for Sunday. Especially.
Thank you. I'll need it probably.